Hello my friends, welcome to TOTL Electronic channel. This is Uncle Misha and today we have very interesting patient right here on the bench. So what it is, this is Harman Kardon CD491. I think this is one of the top of the linest cassette decks Harman Kardon ever offered. Well, mind you, there is a TD 4800, the one which has Dolby S, and this guy is pretty much unobtainium. So I got this one in a bit of a rough shape. I'll show you what I mean. Take a look at this. The whole thing is missing. So there is some buttons here in this little pouch right here, as you see, but not all of them. That's number one problem. Problem number two, this thing doesn't close it. So we have to figure out what the heck is going on. So what is this? What kind of deck is this? So this is a 3-head closed loop direct drive dual capstan cassette deck. This is actually flagship of Harman Kardon. If this deck is completely operational, this is one of the top of the line thing, and quality of recording is at the level of Dragon, ZX9, and many other super top of the line cassette decks. So our goal today is actually analyze what kind of issues this thing has, to see what the heck is going on here, to see if this thing is powers up and things like that. Then we're gonna think about if we have to do any other repairs, take a look inside to see if there is any damage, to see if there is any like broken wires, leaking capacitors, anything missing and things like that. We're gonna take a look first what's going on in here. I actually know that this thing is powers up already, so we're gonna just show you that it's powering up, but obviously it does nothing because we cannot close this thing. So we have to figure out what's going on. I have suspicions that potentially this could be a cam motor having issues. We can have to confirm that. Right, and we have to also figure out what we're going to do with all these buttons, how we're going to secure them. Looks like someone already did a pretty shitty job of gluing them on here. Looks like a super glue. I hope I would be able to figure out something here, or at the end of the story I can just 3D print new buttons, which is going to be ugly, but yeah, I can do that. So today we're gonna determine the issues with this cassette deck and figure out our plan of restoring this cassette deck. And if we're gonna succeed, this is gonna be awesome, because I was actually wanting this deck for a long time, and when I came by one in this kind of condition, I immediately pulled the trigger. It wasn't cheap, but it was not expensive. It was about like 80 Canadian dollars or something like that. Obviously I bought it with all these issues, not knowing if it's properly even operational. So who knows, maybe I bought like a lemon. Well, we're gonna determine this together. So let's take a look what's inside. Alright, so now we are back to our more familiar top view. On the back, this cassette deck doesn't have much of going on. It's just the outputs, 2 microphone inputs, and that's pretty much it. So in order to open it up, we have to unscrew 2 screws here, and two on each side here, and 2 right here. I'll unscrew it off camera. So now when we have our screws removed, let's open the top. Okay. We have pretty cool layout of things here. Oh, I like this. Oh my god, this is amazing. What is this? And this button is tape monitor. That's cool. Definitely have to clean up this contact. Looks like we have 2 separate boards designed. One is main board, another is power supply and motor control. It's just actually pretty good, as this separation will ensure probably the signal integrity. Okay, so let's take a look closer to see if any leaked capacitors. I'm gonna use my cell phone macro lens to kind of examine things, and maybe I'll show you some leaked capacitor if there are any. Okay, looks I'm kind of trying to pick up some capacitors which are leaking, and looks like we are in generally okay. I looked around on those blue capacitors of these kinds. You know, usually they are causing the problems in other Harman decks, but seems like we are good. Obviously, detecting a leaked capacitor is not you know, just as simple as look around the terminals in, you know, determining if there is any kind of electrolyte leaking. But this is the obviously number one problem. Look, so far I've seen no, hey, focus please, no leaked capacitors, you know, and here. So let's take a look at the control board. What do we have here is this, guys. So this kind of crap around the capacitors is okay. This is like you know, glue essentially to glue these big ass capacitors. Oh, wait a second. We don't like this. This capacitor has bulged. So what the heck we have here? 25 volt, 10,000 microfarad, 25 volt. Nichicon, is it? No, it's Panasonic. Panasonic usually causing problems. Yeah. Oh, looks like this capacitor has to go. I don't like this bulge. So this is number one issue, at least. But looks like it's not causing the problem yet, because this thing is still operational, and I assume this is the main filtering capacitor, which goes right after bridge rectifier, potentially. Or maybe it's one of the voltages, like main voltage, let's say plus, let's say, I don't know, 15 or plus 18 volt, which is the main voltage for the amplifiers. This is something to check. So obviously gonna use my SR meter, gonna check if this is a bad or not. But so far we looking okay. So here is the board in its glory. Pretty cool. Okay guys, so we are determined that this capacitor looks actually rather suspicious, because of the bulge. I can actually feel the pressure right here. So this capacitor could be problematic. I don't see any corrosion around it. Maybe I don't see. It's really hard to check, but it's very hard to, really hard to see. But I have to also unscrew the bottom and check on the back. That's we're definitely gonna do together. Also, as far as other capacitor go here, they seems to be okay, unless some of those which I don't see leads, like those big ones. What you're gonna do as well, any big capacitor with leads I don't see, I'm gonna check its ASR in circuit to make sure it's more or less okay. I'm not gonna blindly replace capacitors because I wanted to, unless I know some of those Panasonic capacitors right here. This is actually Panasonic as well. Yeah, they are usually quite iffy. That's actually a lot of Panasonic capacitors, I must say. I don't really like them. Because historically they have been leaking. Yeah, but I had issues with Elna as well, which were quite leaky, and some other capacitors. Yeah. Also, this part has to be cleaned up because it looks like it's collected dust, quite a bit of dust. So let's get back to this part and see what I can do right here. Oh, well, I'm gonna show you something. All right, so that's what I want to show you. Take a look at this motor. I don't know what the heck happened to it, but it's all completely rusty. Shit. Potentially, this is our issue. I don't know why it's ever possible to rust this. Like, what is this? Is this open? This is not. It's not. It's just a little board, sort of protecting it from the shorting. That's good. Oh my god, this motor is very rusty. I don't like it. Potentially, this is our problem. This maybe has issues. How do I rotate this thing? I can't even rotate it. Yes, guys, clearly we have a problem with tape mechanism, and highly likely this is this little motor. So in order to understand how our cassette deck operates, we need to open it up and check if we can fix up this motor, because clearly we have an issue right here. So what you're gonna do, I'm gonna flip it around, open the back, and try to remove this front panel. There is a whole bunch of screws right here. Looks like we have separate screws for a amp compartment and voltage compartment. Yeah. So I'm gonna unscrew all this and I'm gonna, oh, there is a rust here. Okay, gonna take a look what's going on here. Well, turned out to be this shield is very easy to take off. You just unscrew a little bit of those screws and then just pop. I'll show you. You know, just like this. You see how it's done? Click, click. Then you just take it off. Very easy. But turned out to be this is not easy to remove. Looks like it's a part of the chassis. So a transformer is screwed in here and things like that. So yeah, and whole radiator, the heatsink for the power supply. Looks like a different story. So now it's started to unscrewing this front panel. And this screw was missing, so looks like already someone was already here. So after I unscrew those screws on top and the bottom and remove the all knobbies, the front panel is just super easily popped out. You don't have to remove the cassette compartment, the front panel. It still has to can remain out there. So now I have to figure out how to remove tape mac, and it doesn't look like it's hard. Doesn't look like it is hard. We just need to make sure that we have a way of disconnecting it. Also, I'm not sure where the head wires are going, but yeah, looks like we have two screws here and two screws right here, just on the front, like this, like here. Okay, let me do that. This screwdriver not gonna cut it. Let's use this screwdriver. This looks like typical Sankyo, like a tape mac, so the one which used in many cassette decks, including Nakamichi BX 300, CR3E, I don't know, CR4 probably, maybe even CR7, I'm not sure about that. Yeah, so it used in many other cassette decks, so which is good, can find parts or donor units, you know, probably. If necessary. Okay, what next? Am I missing something? Okay. It's not what I thought it is. Maybe there is something in the bottom, because looks like I'm just gonna remove this buttons here, but nothing else. Looks like we have two more screws here, so we're gonna unscrew them quickly too. And checking if not something falling out right here. Good that the majority of screws here are unified, so it's pretty much the same screw all across the board, which is cool. Okay, what about now? Okay, now it's moving. Okay, now all Mac is moving, and now just figure out how to remove all this out of here. Okay, we have one connector, another connector, so this has to be disconnected, and this doesn't come. Oh wow, okay, not gonna touch that, that's just a different kind of connector. Or what? Wait, what the heck are these? Where's this going? Okay, this one is Mac. Is it just wires? Oh, honestly I don't like these kind of guys, but okay. Okay, because this is not the most reliable connectors, but at least they are connectors, not just freaking soldered straight in there. Okay, so this is what else? Looks like all these motor wires I'm gonna cut these guys. Yeah, this can stay together. Why wouldn't they put these kind of connectors for these wires, huh? It's a strange decision. Wow, it's all wrapped very nicely. Okay, jeez. Okay, this has to be disconnected as well. But it is unrelated to the tape mech, and probably this guy as well. Whichever it is. Yeah, so this side goes this way, and this white one goes this way as well. Just this is a mental note or video note for myself. Okay. How about this eject button? Okay. What's following? This goes. I can't really take it forward. Ideally, I would like to take all this tape mech out, but just not sure how. Not sure how. Okay, so this look like these two wires. It's not even related to the tape mech. Mostly buttons. Yeah, this sort of I would be able to push it away, but like this thing is interfering. Probably I need to remove this bracket, and I hope no, it's not gonna. Okay, let me think for now. Let me think for a minute. Okay, so looks like in order to remove this tape mechanism, I have to take apart this part. So I have to free this power supply board and controller board, flip it around, I think, keeping the connection to the transformer, and try to pull this out this way. Another option would be to unscrew this front panel and slide it this way. So I'm not sure what's better, but because I have to take a look at measure the capacitor and actually have access to the power supply, I think unscrewing power supply is the better option. So let's do it. I'm figuring out as I go because I actually never done this before. Oh wow, this is some tough screws here. How many? Do I have to touch this one? I don't know, I'll just... Okay, I'll remove it just in case. I'm not sure if it's connected. And this guy. No way. Are they? Okay, I don't know. I'll give it a good tug and see how that's gonna go. Okay, this it's a bit longer. It's a bit longer screw here. Oopsies. Come back. And this guy. How these connectors are disconnecting. I assume they just like, yeah. Oh my god. Some kind of proprietary Harman Kardon connectors. Okay, let's swing this way. Okay, that's easier. Whew. It's not that bad. Okay, what else is interfering? Okay. What is this? It's another one of those. Why wouldn't they make all of them the same kind? So these are the same kind, but these guys are like, yeah. Oh, so funny. Okay. 2 more screws right here. And make sure you are not connected to the power outlet. Just make sure you're not connected to the power outlet when you're poking around here. Super dangerous. Okay, that's going. So here we are. I'm immediately checking that capacitor to see it's yeah, some screws are falling out. Okay, at least we have power supply. Turn that way. So here we are, our power supply board. I have access to the capacitor or capacitors to make sure. Okay, lost some screws somewhere down here, but that's okay. Okay, so how about our transport? Is it going to come out? Something holding it. What's holding it? This is this. It's all wrapped around. What else? Oh, heads. I have freed heads wires, and now it's just like. That was power supply. Oh wow, it's quite a bit of mass of wires here. And not just that, there is another thing that interferes. That sucks. Another one of those. Okay. Here we are. Wow, it took us quite a bit of time. So here heads are, but unfortunately they are all soldered, so I do want to unsolder it. Okay, so I have to come up with some kind of prop to keep it right here nicely, and also make sure it's not gonna scratch anything right here. Yeah, and totally it looks like, unfortunately you have to pull this all out because all this contraption here, right? It's all, first of all, it's how many screws? See, only one. This screw. and maybe here as well. Yeah, so this has to be removed. So I have created this breach with the plastic container lid right here. It's gonna be hanging over the board. Now I'm gonna just cut some of those zip ties and try to gain access to the motor. Oh, tons of zip ties. It's just good. Okay, so let's try to potentially let me remove this. I remove. Yeah, this kind of sucks. Gives me also an access to the check the idler tire and everything else to clean this off. Look, doesn't look like too bad. There's a little wire. Seems everything is okay here. Little light bulb. Okay. So there is a screw right here. This is moving kind of. This has to clearly need some lubrication actually. That's the screw. I'm not sure if this is. I have to remove potentially. I'm not sure if I have to touch this guy. So this guy technically can be a shaft. Yes, yes, yes. Looks like it's going. Oh, teeny tiny. Fuck. Hate when this happens. I got it. All good. Okay, so now we have all this contraption. So I just decided to slide this thing a little bit, not to mess it up with the alignment of all those cogs, just to have access to one screw and another screw right here. So I'm gonna just try to unscrew them. Looks like they are Loctited with or some kind of. Oh yeah, this is even too small of a screwdriver. Let's try this one. This one better. Okay, it's going. Oh, to need super tiny screw here. Another super tiny screw. Okay. Alright, so now we have access to the motor, which has also Panasonic capacitor right here. Now I know how to unsolder it. That's the only way. But before unsolder it, have to remove this thing somehow. Hope it's not glued, otherwise we're gonna have definitely a problem dealing with it. So can I try something like that? Yeah, I think it's going. Oh yeah, that's all right. It was easy just to slide it out. Okay. Whew, that was easier because I was afraid it was gonna be. Yeah, I need. It looks like I need another container here. I'm gonna put it here. Yeah, looks like it was a little bit of glue right here, but it still didn't. This So this shield have to slide it away as well. Hope it's not mega glued or something, otherwise you're gonna have problem. Well, technically I still can have access to those little pins right here without removing the shield. So this shield is rusted, but it seems like everything else is completely fine. So now when we have to take it apart, let's solder this guy. Note the polarity, okay. Okay. So now we will be dealing just with the motor itself. Okay, can I take this shield off? Oh wow, looks like I cannot. I have this tiny screwdriver. So now, so now I was able to push these tops out. So I have access to this plastic holder, brushes holder, and now we have to push it out this way and see what is going on here. Inside here everything seems to be alright. Okay, and here we are. This is our motor. So now in order to free the rotor from starter, you have to like lift one. Oh, it's very... lift one, and then carefully lift another. Seems like actually it's not too bad, it's not too dirty, so I'm gonna clean it up. I'm gonna clean up those brushes, try to secure these screws, but looks like they are quite a bit secure already. Just to make sure there is a good contact right here. Some people are actually soldering this, but like, I don't know why would they, like, probably to have better contact here and here, but yeah, I don't know. The brushes itself seems to be really, like, I mean, nothing wrong with them, so looking good. And the rotor itself is looking good as well, so you're obviously gonna clean this up. Yeah, and then we'll continue. Maybe there's nothing wrong, maybe there's issue is somewhere else. For example, this tape mag is very stiff or something, right? So now our next step would be to clean up all the brushes, rotor and starter. So we're gonna use this, just an alcohol. I'm gonna clean this up nicely. Yeah, it has some little bit of a build up. I'm not sure what is this. Is this the carbon material, or that is the just some sort of copper dust which oxidized? Really hard to tell. It's cotton swab gonna have enough. I think it's gonna have enough abrasion to actually clean this up nicely. Alright, so let's take a look what we have here with brushes. So for brushes I need something a little bit more thinner, so I'm gonna just do this with the cotton swab. Stop here. Yeah, just a little bit here. Add a little bit of alcohol. And let's clean them up. Yeah, it's a little bit dirty, but nothing major. Okay, well, let's try to assemble everything back together. For assembling, have to... My approach is gonna be like this. I'm gonna be holding it like so, then spread brushes lightly. Yeah, it's not really easy to perform such operation to ensuring that you're not damaging anything. So idea here is to spread brushes such a way that they're not gonna hit the face of the rotor, and now they are snug against the rotor. Yeah, okay, so now let's put it back into the magnetic casing. I have to like aim properly, right? Which is not that straightforward. That's gonna make it a little bit easier. Alright, now is a good time to test your motor. So for that, you need to have a power supply or a battery. In my case, I have power supply. I'm gonna set it to 9 volts. And current limit I'm gonna set to 100 milliamp. I honestly don't know what will be the current for this little motor. Let's say 50 milliamp. I honestly don't know. I don't want to just blast it with. So current limit is 53 millivolt. Sorry, milliamp. Okay, it obviously triggers the current limit, but motor is working. Actually, I just thought about something. Let me... And the polarity is just for the fact that, yeah, 9 volt, 48 milliamp. This is what it's consuming at the moment. And if you change the polarity, it's going to be rotating opposite direction. That's all gonna change. Actually triggering current limit and consuming 51 milliamp here. But it is working. So obviously when you solder it back on in the wrong polarity, it's gonna be just rotating in opposite direction, and it clearly are definitely gonna mess up all your camshaft operation. So now let's try to put it together and observe our polarity. So now when we have our motor assembled, let's solder
all necessary wires in. So just want to tell you that very important to observe polarity, otherwise the cam mechanism is not going to work properly. So the brown one is a positive, white one is negative. Also, I cleaned up these little holes as you see here, so for easier, it will be much easier to solder. So for example, just fish it like this and take your solder and just lightly alright, just like that. Then second one, I think this one has pretty much enough solder just to do this. Alright, good. Now we have to solder our capacitor. Technically, it would be a nice idea to actually clean these leads up. Okay, again, observing polarity. And the polarity is... what's going on here? This is a very interesting capacitor. So this is a very interesting capacitor which doesn't really show the polarity. Oh wow. This is kind of sucks. So the only way I can figure out the polarity of these capacitors is only use this capacitor as a reference, which probably the same kind. But because this is red, this is blue, I assume this is positive, this is negative. Another solution would be just to replace this capacitor with a capacitor which has proper markings. But this is bizarre that they do not put polarity labels on this capacitor, which is kind of no comments here. But also, by reviewing my video, previous frames of my video, I just figured out that this is how it's supposed to be. So this text is goes to positive. So now we have our motor connected here. Usually when the capacitors are new, longer and shorter leads are indicating the polarity, but in this case, they, without actual explicit label on the case, that's a bit annoying, but nevertheless. So now I can proceed with installing the... Oops, you know what? Very important step I forgot. I have to secure this. This is a very important step. Exactly. So we have to secure this back panel. So now we have to install our motor. Okay, but we have to install this grub screw, or whatever it is. I think it's a grub screw. And in order to make sure this grub screw is not gonna slip, okay, you would have to dab a little bit of glue right in here. So my idea is to use this white glue and this piece of wire, because I would be able to insert the glue right in there. It's not easy operation because it tends to form a bubble, but I hope it did work. So in ideal circumstance, we need to let this dry. So after a while now, when we let this glue dry, we have to insert this, gonna be like that, in here in the place. Okay, so we would be able to actually screw only one screw, right? and these screws are usually pretty tiny. So these are the screws, like this one tiny one. I'm gonna use a screwdriver for that to lift it. But for another one we have to actually slide the cam mechanism a little bit, like just like that, maybe a little bit more. Alright, and then pick another one. So our cam mechanism now is ready to go back. So here we are. So our task now is to properly install it back into the tape mech. Soldering iron can be shut off. So now when we properly align the mechanism in here and in here, we can put the screws back. So actually it's supposed to be alright. And this one goes in here. Here's the one. So now our cam mechanism is all set. So right about now would be a good idea to give it a try. Okay, so now when we have our tape mech out, it's a very good possibility to actually clean everything up. So now let's focus on what we're gonna be cleaning. So first of all, we have to clean our capstan, pinch rollers, capstan, pinch rollers. We want to clean our heads. We're gonna address this little wheel, I forgot the name of it, the idler. We have to clean up these surfaces as well. Everything else seems to be clean, but we also can clean up all this. And now we're gonna clean up as much as possible, and while we are cleaning, we're also gonna take a look at the surfaces and condition of the rubber parts. For example, this belt right here seems to be in a decent condition. This is actually, I think this is a counter belt, because there is a little mechanism right here, this sensor, which actually counts rotations. So this belt seems to be in okay condition. So if you need to replace it, it's very easy to do it right about here. Our idler, a rubber idler, seems to be in okay condition. I'm not sure if it engages properly, but you know, it has a washer on it. Yeah, heads are relatively clean. Also, they give you a chance to examine how good heads are. Okay, and pinch rollers looks like they need to be cleaned up. If you have a rubber renew, it's a good chance to actually apply it right here and on the pinch rollers. But seems to be, to me, it's okay. I'm just gonna clean up it with alcohol and we go from there. To clean up with alcohol, we're gonna just drip a little bit of alcohol right here and rotate these surfaces. And they are actually quite bit clean, so not much dirt right in here. Let's see what we got on this surface of the reel. Yeah, it's actually relatively clean as well, so it's not too bad. Let's see how our idler wheel is doing. It's a bit worse, but I think it's still doing okay. It's not too bad. Okay, so now let's address our heads. I'll try to not introduce any more hair. So our heads are now very easily accessible, so we can just go and clean them, but they look relatively clean. Yeah, pretty much nothing on them. Then after we cleaned up our heads, we can use that alcohol to clean up capstan and the other capstan. Looks like this one is much more dirtier. By the way, sometimes it's much easier to clean up capstan when the whole mechanism is actually rotating. So pinch roller, now I'm checking the pinch roller, and I think even pinch roller is relatively clean. Yeah, not much gunk going on. Taking the clean cotton swab and just rubbing against the pinch roller, and I think, oh no, it's a bit of a dirt coming out. It's not that bad. Okay, so let's take a look at the other pinch roller. So yeah, pinch rollers are not that dirty, you know, usually it's much worse than that. So I still gonna clean it up off camera as much as I could, because it could take some time. But yeah, so now our tape mechanism is nice and clean. Obviously it's so much easier to do it when it's off the tape deck, so it's you have very nice accessibility to pretty much everything. So after we cleaned up all this, I think it's address the motor issue, we can take a look how our mechanism is moving. So I think it's moving really nicely. We can add some lubrication to lubrication point, for example here, right here, and right here. Okay, but so far I think it's moving fine, but technically if you have an issue moving this up and down, that's a good idea to lubricate. Alright guys, so now when we assembled everything together, when we lubricated some of the points right here where I mentioned, like here, over here and down there, and both sides, I think it's time to assemble it back in the original case and see if we succeeded with our operation. So let's do this together. Let's remove all unnecessary bits and bobs from here and try, I think it can go, try to place it. Okay, let's first, so in order to place it back when it's supposed to be, we need to move this out. Yeah. You know what, before I go there, I have nice access to the power supply board, which otherwise won't be accessible. This is sort of not the best design solution. I would like to measure the capacitors. This will give me a chance to measure those capacitors. So yeah, let me whip up my ESR meter. Alright, so here's our power supply board and here's my ESR meter. And here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big filtering capacitors. So let's see what these guys say. Oops. It measures, so it's really hard to show you. Yes, nothing because of the light glare. Okay, let's see. Let's do like this. It's pretty low ESR. Pretty low ESR as well. ESR is fine. Well, which is alright, but sometimes you can have bad ESR, nice LSR, but bad capacitor because it loses. Yeah. So what we need to do ideally is to desolder this capacitor and measure its capacity to see if it's right or not. But for now, our goal is to deal with the tape mech, so let's put this back in, assemble everything together, because I don't see an obvious issue with the capacitor. So obviously, in order to place tape mechanism when it's supposed to be, right here, we need to remove the first the power supply board, then swing it back in its place. All right. I'm not gonna secure any screws at the moment. We're just going to connect it. This is the control. Okay. So these wires, okay, I should have not done this. This is not the best. So this goes on this side, unfortunately, so don't forget that. It's supposed to, then it has to be nicely strapped. But before we do that, we obviously have to test it. Then this goes back in here. Okay. That 3-pin one goes right in here. I'm not sure what it is. Alright, but it goes right in here, just inserts and locks up. It's good. Okay, now everything else. So I would recommend putting these guys first because they are pretty flimsy. Oh yeah, I forgot the control ones. Well, we can put the control one later and then figure this out. Because I would still have to deal with the capacitors, so because I'm definitely gonna replace this bulgy one, so I'm not gonna do all this work just to undo it again. Wow, it's yeah, it's not that straightforward. Make sure all pins are straight up. And the thing is straight too. Alright, this is good. Now we're gonna put this ribbon. Okay, and there's the two more, and this is motor control. So this is the motor control, goes in here. Another motor control goes in here. Okay, now there is a control buttons. So this is this unit. Oops. Oh, this is not good. So I'm losing these little light guides. It's very important not to lose them. So looks like one is missing already, so I'm kind of hoping that I didn't lose it too far away from here. Okay, that's something I didn't notice before. I thought they are glued in place, so yeah, this might be missing here. So I may end up MacGyvering something, or actually it would be nice to find this unit completely, or at least this plastic thing. Yeah. Let's just nicely put this in place, and now put. So technically you don't have to remove this part because it's gonna be just underneath, you just plug it back in, but I decided to understand a little bit more how this thing is organized and in attempt to maybe replacing it or MacGyvering something instead of it. So yeah, I'm gonna just leave it dangling right here. It's plasticky, so not gonna short anything. This can be inserted later. Alright guys, so we successfully installed this cam mechanism. It requires a little bit of tweaking, and sometimes when your cam mechanism is not properly working, sometimes you just give it a little bit of nudge, because and it became operational, especially after you were cleaning and doing all sorts of things. Otherwise, it's the cassette deck not gonna go. It's gonna blink colors here. Essentially, it means it's in a weird state. So this thing definitely gonna go. You have to like push it a little bit because sometimes there is the motor ended in a dead spot or something like that. But that's something to keep in mind. So also I've done all cleaning of all necessary surfaces right here. So I've cleaned up heads, I've cleaned up pinch rollers, I've cleaned up capstan axes here. Also, off camera, of course, what I've done, I applied rubber renew to all rubber surfaces. For example, to this teeny tiny idler wheel. Also, I applied rubber renew to both capstans pinch rollers, this one and that one. Well, we're gonna see if it did something. So now we're gonna try to put my favorite cassette Garavi Sokak and see if you're gonna get any proper operation. Because when I tried a little bit briefly, just with holding this little thingy right here and operating, it seems to be working. You know what, let's just do it without cassette first. You know, what if things go haywire and I would like to have a chance. Okay, this little fiddly thing, okay, just go like this. I would like to have a chance to make sure I'm gonna be able to recover out of it. So let's power it up. Oh, my benches look so messy. I'm sorry guys, I have to think about it. Okay, let's just power it up right here. There's a little socket. Okay. Watch operation of this. It says wait on here on the screen. Did you see that? And now it says 0. Okay, that's positive. So that means it's synchronized. Now let's open yeah, and just do this. So this is the sensor which actually senses the presence of the cassette. Okay, so let's do this. So obviously because this is all busted, okay, so this is rewind, this is play, this is forward, this is stop, this is rec, I think this is pause, and two little thingies are missing. One of them I found, another probably Gonski. Ah, c'est la vie. Alright, so let's rewind. Okay, it stops obviously because the other one doesn't do any action. Let's do forward. Okay, let's do play. You see? Well, it's doing something, right? So it's alive. It's alive. Okay, so let's use Garavi Sokak and also make sure. I'm not really sure. So this little cable here is a tape monitor kind of cable. So because I don't know, it probably has to be depressed. Okay, let's put our favorite tape, Garavi Sokak, and see what's gonna happen. This is play. Yeah. What's good? Why jumpy? That's weird. It is playing, certainly. It's playing. I see even indicator here, but it's jumping for some reason. And I think it's slowing down. And yeah, looks like our oops, the wrong button. Bah. Also, while I was cleaning up the tape Mac and applying some sort of rubber renew stuff. By the way, when you apply rubber renew, you better do it outside. I've done it outside with the mask, because who knows, that crap is really serious business. So like, just keep that in mind. Also, in the same time, while wearing mask, I also have done deox to all this potentiometer and switches here and things like that. So just do it in one shot. Yeah, don't forget this, very important. Why it is jumpy like that? I don't get it. That was weird. Okay, rewind. Sorry, that's forward. Looks like the little wheel here, I just see it through this little hole, is very jumpy. It's like, it's very chatty. I'm not sure, maybe this is the indication that the maybe this is the indication that actually I need to replace the idler wheel. Yeah, need to think about it, because if this is the case, I won't be able to proceed, obviously. But clearly we have music playing, so let's just get... So this is tape. Okay, this is monitor, this is... Sorry, this is monitor, this is source. Source obviously nothing, monitor playing something. Let's put some headphones and see what we get. Let's just stop it for now. I have my headphones here because I don't have it hooked up to the amp, so they just fired up. Feels like it's playing slower. Maybe not. Actually plays pretty nicely, by the way, for this super old cassette. Jeez. And loud. Well, loud maybe. Well, I still don't know how to operate this cassette deck. I don't know where the output. Oh, here, I found the output. So. Alright, so this plays well. I don't know, maybe it's all good. Okay, let's stop. Obviously I have to run proper calibration procedures. And before I... Okay, I have this Type 2 cassette recorded. This is with some YouTube music, so that's gonna be safe-ish. Then even got a Visokak. Okay, let's see. Hope that's the right cassette, because I didn't label it, unfortunately. It does play. The only what I don't like is this noise, which I'm not following where it's coming from. It's like crinkling. Hope it's not messing up the tape. Hope it's not messing up the tape. Is it? Oh wow, I think it is messing up the tape. Because this tape was never... Okay. I don't think it was that chewed up. You see that? I don't know, I hope... Okay, like... Oh, okay, so after a while actually this knocking noise has actually stopped. So now it's actually not doing that. Maybe after... Yeah, but this rewind... Oh, it's so loud. Yeah, I don't know. If I look in there, it looks like the little idler is very chatty. So this is probably not good. Maybe eventually have to... Yeah, I have to replace it, I guess. But, you know, so far so good. Rewinds, everything is working quite well. So at this, we assume that basic operation of a Harman Kardon CD491 is restored. So mechanism is fine. This is working. So our main goal was actually make the mechanism work. Later I would have to definitely, I think I have to replace this capacitor. This is really dodgy looking capacitor. Even its ESR is fine, it's still dodgy looking capacitor. Yeah, I definitely gonna replace it. 10,000 microfarads, 85C. It's not too bad. I don't think it's ever gonna get this is hot, probably 50 Cs or something. Maybe I'm gonna put 105 here. Okay, there is another SU capacitor. Those SUs, I don't know how good are they. TK, those green are TK, these three are Panasonics. Yeah, they are pretty old, so maybe this is good time to replace them, because these guys are stressed a lot. These other guys, not really. They can just, if they're defective, they're gonna leak. If they are badly manufactured, they're gonna leak. These guys are stressed. Literally, because a lot of power comes through them. They are warming up. They actually warm. They are not hot, but they are warm. So yeah, and putting the capacitors which are having low ESR, low ripple current, gonna make sure that they are not gonna heat up as the current passes through. Unfortunately, or fortunately, let's say, fortunately, this is not a lot of current going through. I don't believe so. If this thing, I think, consumes like 50 watts, yeah, it's just 1 or 2 amps going through the capacitor. And these guys actually, yeah, they like, yeah, it'd be nice to actually know the actual ripple current of this guy. Yeah, so but they're supposed to handle that. Shouldn't be a big deal. Unfortunately, is this green something right there? Yeah, I have to really double check around this capacitor to make sure there is no any kind of electrolyte leakage around here. We have another kind of 16 volt for 70 microfarad. What are these guys? 4725 volt. Yeah, so this is like 5000 microfarads guy, Jobbies, and these guys. So this is smaller, 470 16. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of 470 16, 470 16, 470 16, like 4 of these, which is TK branded, and 3 beefy ones. Yeah, 470, for 400, 4700 and 10,000 microfarad. 25 volt, 25 volt. Yes, so yeah, I better order some. Yeah, I have these guys, plenty of them, I think Nichicons, but these guys I do not have. So I think the part 1 is over. What's left here is to nicely assemble all this cassette deck back. Really? Oh. How the heck? It was operating without this. What the fuck is this? Yeah, I don't know. I forgot to connect this connector, and the deck was completely operational. It was showing indication, it was showing everything. Yeah, this is stupid of me, of course. Let me see what's gonna happen. Just double check if it's gonna break it or make it. I guess I got so excited that I forgot to connect. Yeah, no, nothing else. Everything else is in place. Just that. Why? Ah, because it was interfering. Okay, so just let me do a final check just to make sure I didn't mess up anything. But well, it does go and play. So yeah, again, it's doing this knocking sound. Yeah, I still have to pinpoint what the heck is going on here, but so far it's working. It's playing, yeah. Alright. This is good. So whatever, like, I double check this wire and see what it's doing, but but so far it's okay. Yeah. Maybe it's some mode switches, I don't know. So I'm gonna wrap it up. There is nothing really to see here. To just put the bunch of screws back together, like wrap it up, put and also obviously I'm gonna clean up all these bits and pieces. They're not super dirty, but they are dusty, so everything gonna be cleaned up, gonna be put together. And next step, we're gonna take a look with you on calibration of this deck. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this was useful, especially how to deal with the tape mechanism, typical Sankyo tape mechanism in Harman Kardon implementation, because they are a little bit different from each other. And also a generic investigation on what's going on with the componentry right here. So for example, checking for bad capacitors and so on. So thank you for watching, and see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe, by the way, or like the video, or comment if you see something interesting or you have something to say. And obviously we're gonna see you next time when I continue with this wonderful cassette deck. Stay safe and ciao.